Crying in the attic is one of the scariest things I've ever experienced in my life. And if you hear it, get away because it means something evil is trying to escape whatever dimension it's trapped in. The end. Okay, so that was a summary of what happened to me. But if you want the real details, sit down because this is going to take a while to explain. Also, sorry if I sound kind of tired. I haven't slept much lately, but I just couldn't bring myself to go to sleep with all the stuff that's been going on. So yeah, let's start at the beginning. About a week ago, I was sitting in my room watching YouTube videos when I heard what sounded like screams in the attic. I live alone, so there was no one else in the house. And besides, even if there was, they'd be asleep by now. I should mention that the attic isn't soundproof or anything like that, but it's actually just an unfinished storage space with exposed wooden beams. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe some raccoons got in, or maybe there was a wind gust that opened the window. But then I heard it again later that night, and it still sounded like screaming. This time it came from right above my bed, which doesn't make any sense because there's a solid ceiling between us. I decided to check it out, just to be sure, but everything seemed fine. There was nothing up there. I looked around anyway, just to be safe, but found nothing. After that, everything seemed fine for a few days. Then I started hearing those cries again every night. They never stopped. They were always at the same exact time, midnight, give or take a few minutes. And they sounded desperate and sad. Each cry lasted for about 5 minutes and then they would stop, only to start again 10 minutes later. And I could tell exactly where it was coming from. It was behind the bookshelf in my closet. Now, I don't really use the bookshelf, so I had already moved most of my stuff into the attic. If you know me, you know that I love collecting action figures and Funko Pops, and all of them were stored on the shelves. But that's not the point of this story, so I won't go into detail about it. The point is that when I went to the attic to look, I found nothing. I was ready to give up on figuring it out, but my curiosity got the best of me. So I decided to try recording it with my phone. I grabbed my phone and set it up right next to the bookshelf, facing it directly. Then I left the room and waited. A few minutes later, I heard the cries start. I immediately ran back into the room and checked my phone. The recording showed that it wasn't wind or a branch or anything like that. It was a small grey orb that flew directly behind the bookshelf. And I can't stress enough how dark this thing was. Even though it was right in front of the camera, it wasn't casting a shadow like a normal object would. It just looked like a grey orb floating in the darkness. I tried to focus on it, but it moved so fast that I couldn't see what it was clearly. All I saw was a blurry grey streak. At this point, I was scared. Like, really scared. What the hell was this thing? Was it a ghost? A demon? Some kind of interdimensional creature? That last theory was the one that stuck, and to be honest, it still kinda does. But I believe this thing came from another dimension and it's somehow stuck here. But why? Why is it trapped here? Whatever it is, it sounds sad, and I can tell that it wants to leave. It wants to go home, but it's stuck here, unable to move on. After that day, I started researching anything I could find about interdimensional creatures and portals. But I couldn't find anything that matched my experience. There are tons of stories about interdimensional portals opening in people's houses. But in almost all of them, the story ends when the person closes the portal and goes on with their life. In my case, it's different. It's like the portal opened, but it hasn't closed yet, and whatever is behind there, it's getting more and more desperate to escape. I was afraid to go to sleep because I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep with whatever was making those noises right behind my bed. Every night it got worse. Sometimes I could feel the vibrations through the floorboards. Other times I could smell this weird, sweet odor. It smelled like cinnamon and old books. And sometimes, very rarely, I could see shadows moving in the corner of my eye. These weren't hallucinations. I don't think I was going crazy or anything like that. I just felt like whatever was behind there was trying to make itself known. It was trying to break through and escape into our dimension. Then, a few nights ago, things took a turn for the worst. I woke up in the middle of the night to what sounded like screams. I was sitting straight up in bed, staring at the bookshelf, when suddenly it started shaking violently. At first it was subtle, but within seconds it was clear that something was trying to claw its way through. Then I saw something. A small grey orb was floating in front of me. It looked just like the one in the video I recorded earlier, but this time it wasn't blurry. It was solid and real. I don't know how to describe what it looked like, but it looked like a deflated balloon made of smoke. It was grey and white, and it looked desperate. It started to shake the bookshelf again, and I felt the air around me change. It got colder, and I could smell that sweet, musty odour. Then it vanished. The bookshelf stopped shaking and everything went back to normal. In the morning, I went to the attic and checked everywhere, but I didn't find anything. I thought maybe it escaped somehow, but there's no way. There are no gaps in the walls, and even if there were, it's not like this thing could fit through them. Well, that is, if this thing is solid. But then I remembered. When I recorded it before, it didn't look solid. It looked like an orb made of smoke. Could that be the explanation? Is it able to move between dimensions since it's not fully in our dimension? Does that mean it's going to come through at some point? Every night it gets worse. The bookshelf shakes more and more each night, and I can feel the wall vibrating under my bed. I'm starting to lose sleep because of it, and I'm not sure what to do. Should I wait for it to come through? Should I try to stop it? Or should I try to help it? Part of me wants to figure out what dimension it's from and send it back. But I also don't want to mess things up. What if it causes a rift in the space-time continuum? What if it unleashes chaos upon the world? And what if it's too late? What if it's already here? Some days I think I'm overreacting, but then other days I can feel the vibrations through the floor and I remember that this is no joke. This is my life. And until I know what to do about the situation, I can't sleep. The bookshelf is still shaking every night, and tomorrow, who knows what it might do. I'll keep you updated if things change. But for now, I have to go. I kept the flashlight on as I walked through the pitch-black attic, careful not to step on any of the broken glass. The flashlight flickered, casting long dancing shadows across the dusty floorboards. I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread as I moved through the maze-like space, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked ominously beneath my feet. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Was I alone up here? I strained to listen, but the only sound was the faint hum of the refrigerator downstairs. Relieved but shaken, I continued my search, desperate to uncover the source of the noise and put an end to my terrifying ordeal.